Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Whitney Spratt, and I am the Director of Hotels here at Tripleseat. And today we are going to talk about hotel reporting and the options you have within the Tripleseat platform. So you can feel free to follow along on your Tripleseat, or you may just follow along on the screen. And if you have any questions along the way, you're welcome to put them into the questions box, and I will periodically check that as we go. We likely won't be here for an hour, probably more like 30 minutes, but I just want to give you an overview of some of the options you have and give you some tools so that you can start creating reports on your own. So I am going to start by going into the reports page down here on the left-hand navigation. So this takes you to all of the standard reporting options that you have within Tripleseat. But as a hotel customer, you also have the ability to jump into the advanced reporting feature. So I'm actually going to start there today. So the advanced reporting is accessed through this button on the upper right-hand side. And this will take you to a series of reports that are essentially pre-built for you. So these aren't customizable, with the exception of filtering by date and locations and things like that. But in terms of the columns of data that you're pulling in, they're set up to pretty much have the majority of the stuff that you would want to pull in. You can't rearrange the order, but these are just kind of one-click runoffs, if you will. So it does make them super convenient. So you can see here on the left-hand side that it's broken into event reports, booking reports, and then sales reports at the bottom. So the event reports are really going to give you those event level details. And what I mean by that is that you're going to be able to pull in information specifically about what happened in an event space on a particular day. So I'm just going to show you the event overview report here. So here you can see that you've just got a pretty decent snapshot of what's going on at the property during whatever time period you're reporting on. So the report options will let you filter down, like I said, by status, and in this case, status and date. So if you wanted to see a snapshot of what's happening at a particular property, and if you do oversee more than one property, you are able to filter by property as well. And here we can see that we're seeing those granular event level details, such as start time, end time, how many guests are in the specific room, etc. Owner in Tripleseat, as you know, is the person that booked and is overseeing that particular event. And here we have status on the right-hand side. So if you'd like to run off snapshots of, what's coming up next week, next month, whatever it may be, this is a quick and easy way to do that. If I jump down to the booking reports, we have a similar report in the booking overview. So instead of looking at dial down event details, we are now looking at a more overview, if you will, of the booking as a total. So any revenue that's pulled in here is going to be a rolled up total. Any event revenue that's pulling in here will be a rolled up total of all the events that live under this particular booking. Again, the report options are going to let us filter down by status, by property if applicable, and what date period you want to look at. You can also isolate it to a particular user. So if you're trying to narrow down someone's bookings in particular. So here we can see we have the location of the booking name, and then instead of having start and end time, we have start and end date, right? Because hotels have bookings that span over multiple days. So that's the type of overview information that you're pulling in on the booking level. This is also going to give you room block information. So room block data lives on the booking level in Tripleseat. So when you're looking to report on room block information, whether it is room nights or room type or total revenue expected, pickup, etc., ADR, that's all going to be from a booking report. So we can see room block information as well as some of those event totals. So this is giving us a category total for food and a category total for beverage. But as I said, if there were 4 events that make up this amount right here, then that's going to be the rolled up total of all 4 events. All right, so let's take a look at a few other booking reports. So I'm going to show you the booking annual pace report. So of course, pace report is going to give you two sets of dates compared against each other, right? So this booking annual pace report is simply just breaking down an entire year by month. So in this case, we're looking at 2020 versus 2021, and it's going to break it down by a couple different statuses. So what went definite during the time period? And again, if you look at the report options, I can filter it down by property, and I can also adjust how I group it. But what went definite during this time period, what went tentative during this time period, what was lost, and what was created and went to prospect. And then what already was definite, what already was tentative, and what already was prospective. And then you've got a little key down at the bottom here. So this is just a great way to see, rolled up revenue in a real quick shot. So we can see it broken down by the total number of bookings, how many agreed room nights, the revenue tied to that, the ADR tied to that, how many blocked room nights, etc. And then your event total. So this is looking at revenue that has already been posted within Tripleseat. So, this might be a good comparison when you're looking backwards. You might have this is our demo site, so there's a lot of zeros just because the data is not having on real events, but this would be event revenue that's already tied to a set of documents, if you will. So it's not a forecasted number. All right, and then I just wanted to also show you the booking productivity report. So this particular report can be sorted by or grouped by owner or market segment. And this allows you to look at activity that happened in a certain period, booked for another period. So for example, what did the team book last month for 2022? Or what did the team book last week for the rest of this year? So it allows you to filter by that, which is helpful if you want to look at it from a couple different directions, and then it breaks it down. So here we can see by market segment, everything that newly went definite, and by segment, newly tentative and by segment, and was created and by market segment. And then we can see a sum up per property and then by owner. So this is great if you really want to see what the individual sales managers were doing during a certain time period. So down at the bottom, since we have the primary grouping as owner, this is where it breaks it down for us with the salesperson's name, the market segment, and then the individual bookings where you get some broken down detail for those. And then I just want to point out that all of these reports that I've just showed you can be exported to Excel or PDF. So if you need to add some additional columns or do some additional formulating, with the information that maybe you're adding in, then obviously sending it to Excel is super helpful. If you just, as is, something that you can share with others, then exporting it to a PDF gives you a nice clean version to send off. All right, and then there's two GRC reports. There's the annual and then of course the monthly. These are very straightforward, look pretty similar to most GRC reports that live in most hotel systems, but you obviously can control the month and the year at the top. And then you can opt to show blocked, agreed, forecast, or picked up. So if you'd like to compare the two, you could obviously print out a quick blocked report and compare that to a quick picked up report. All right, and then down in the sales reports, the one I really want to point out here is the activity overview. I think this is helpful if you are responsible for reporting on a team's activities in terms of prospecting, etc. So I'm just going to click on that. And then in the report options, I'm going to stretch out the time period a little bit because, as I said, this is our demo site, so we don't have active sales managers working in here. So here we can see broken down by sales managers, just a total count of the different activity types. These activity types are controlled by you or by your system admin. So you can set these up to be customized to your property and to your prospecting flow, whatever the team recognizes as tags. Those can be set up as task types, which I'll touch on shortly. So this just gives you a good total for whatever time period you're reporting on, and then also broken down by sales managers. So if they have specific goals to meet every month, every quarter, whatever it may be, you can easily track them here. All right, so let's go back to our standard reporting. All right, so in the standard reporting, we've got some graphs at the top. Those are just kind of stagnant, but really what you want to get into is down below. So similar to the advanced reporting, it's broken out into event reports, booking reports, accounts and contacts, leads, and then below leads, you have your activity and your task report. So I'm going to kind of start from the bottom up here. So the task report, and before I go into this, let's talk about what you're reporting on. So in Tripleseat, for the most part, anywhere you see a field of data that gets filled out when you're creating a booking, when you're creating a lead, when you're creating an event, an account, a contact, the majority of those fields are reportable. So if I just hit on new booking, as the sales managers or the catering managers are filling out the booking, they're filling in fields of data, and that data can be pulled into reports. So when you're thinking about a report that you might want to create, a custom report that you might want to create, you just want to think about what is it that I need to report on, and what field of data will get me that information. And so when we were talking about that activity report, those are pulling task types. So if I go into settings, preferences, and drop downs, these are all the standard drop downs that your Tripleseat site comes with. So, event types, these are all reportable. Your lead sources, if you really need to report on marketing activity, you're trying to get a return on investment for certain advertising or marketing pushes, your lead sources are extremely powerful. If you need to break it down by market segment, you can report on that. Task types are what we're feeding into that activity report that we just looked at on the advanced reporting. And so this is where you would build out your task types for that sales activity, and also just for general detailing of a booking. So you might have kind of two sets of task types, if you will. So some might pertain specifically to the sales team and their prospecting to get a prospective customer from that status to a definite booking status. And then some might be more specific to the catering team who is detailing things out and wants to use tasks as reminders. So it sort of works on both levels. You can have as many task types as you want. You can just add them here. And then if you have one in there that you don't want to use, it's as simple as hitting the trash can. You can also change the order of how these appear. And that goes for all of these drop downs that you see here. So if I jump back to the reports page, and I'm going to scroll down to the bottom. So under task reports, I built out a task report that is very similar to the one that we looked at on the advanced reporting. So the advanced reporting one, just in a handful of clicks, you're able to see a tally per task type by sales manager. If you want to be able to report on it in a little bit more detail, these reports allow you to do that. So what I have here is basically broken down by manager, the type of task that they completed during a certain period, when they created it, when they completed it, and when was the due date, so that you can kind of follow along on their progress. And then a description if you want some more detail. It's also going to show you what it was associated with. So was this a cold call on an accountant contact, or is this tied to a specific meeting or a specific booking? All right, and then in addition to those standard fields that I was talking about, so not only your drop downs, which we just talked about how to create, but all the standard fields that come with a Tripleseat site, you can also create what are called custom fields. So custom fields can be added and they can apply to all properties you oversee, or maybe specific to one. So in this case, I added an attrition custom field. Custom fields are also reportable. So again, if you're going back to thinking about what do I want to report on? What do I need to report on? And does that data already exist somewhere in Tripleseat? And if it doesn't, then a custom field might be applicable. So custom fields can be merged into your document terms and conditions. They can be merged into your event orders, wherever it may make sense to merge that information. But in addition to being mergeable, they are also reportable. So going back to our reports, if we were talking about reporting on a custom field, let's focus on the booking details report for a moment. So all of your reports that live on this reports page have a couple options. They all have pre-canned time frames. So I can just click on next 3 months, and on my screen, it's going to give me certain columns of data for that time period. But I can also always build out a custom report. And this is where the reporting gets its most powerful. So if you had a specific report in mind, again, think about reporting from the booking level or from the event level. So booking level is going to give you rolled up financial information. There are 6 events. It's going to give you the total of those 6 events. It's going to give you the total food spend on those 6 events, the total beverage spend on those 6 events. It's also going to give you room block information. Event reporting is going to allow you to report that specifically in your grand ballroom, starting at 6 p.m. and ending at 11 p.m., there is an event for 300 covers. So that's kind of the way to approach it. What type of information am I looking to report on? That will help you to decide, do we start with a booking details report or an event details report? If I hit customize on this booking details report, I have 4 tabs across the top that are going to help me build this report. My first tab is filtering. What do I want to report on? What dates do I want to filter by? Am I looking at bookings that are historical? So I'm looking backwards. Am I looking at bookings that are in the future? So I'm looking forwards, or perhaps you're looking in both directions. We have all these pre-canned timeframes, but we also have, we can report on a specific date. We can report on everything that happened before a date, everything that happened after a date, or of course, the date range. We can do the same thing with the end date, the date created, the definite date, and the lost date. So those all become powerful filters depending on what you're looking to report on. And you can also only report on specific statuses. So maybe you want to report on bookings that are lost now, but had a definite date of any day before today. So that might be a way to filter it. You can also filter it down by location. If you manage more than one location, keeping everything unchecked will report on everything together. And the same goes with owners. If you just wanted to report on specific owners' activity, then you could filter it down by owners. Otherwise, it's going to pull data for everybody. The next tab is, of course, the custom fields tab. So this is not saying, please add this custom field into my report. This is saying, please filter by my custom field. So if I were to filter by attrition, if I wanted to run a report on only bookings that had an 80% attrition, this is how I would filter. So custom fields, in addition to being reportable, can also help filter reports. If you have specific booking types or something like that that you just need to separate out from the rest of the group, there's a lot of use for this particular filter, and you can add additional custom fields as well. I'm going to keep it fairly well open so we get more data, but the next tab is your group and sorting. So this is great. Like how do I want to see this data? I'm reporting on 2 properties with a whole bunch of salespeople. How do I want this organized? So you can group it by any of these options here. You can even group by certain custom fields. So maybe you're trying to see, what each owner did, or perhaps you're reporting on a whole year, but you want to see it grouped by month. So this just helps organize the report. And then of course the same goes with sort. The columns tab is where you really do the customization. So this is the tab where you tell Tripleseat what fields of data to pull into this report. We've got all of our categories over here on the left. So the booking information. Do we want the booking name? Do we want the status? If you were reporting on lost bookings, maybe you have a sales team that says, okay, let's look at everything that didn't actually materialize last year and figure out if it's worth trying to reach out to them to come this year or next year. Well, then the lost reason and the lost details would be important, right? So if it was lost to budget, then maybe it's not the first person you call. But if it was lost because they decided to go to the West Coast and next year they're going to consider the East Coast and your property's on the East Coast, well, then that would make a lot of sense to reach out to that person. So that's where that information becomes helpful. So this is all of the information that you can pull in for the booking, and then you can add any information pertaining to the room block. So maybe you want to see how many rooms do they contract on and what is the anticipated revenue of that contracted room block. You can add custom fields. So again, from this custom fields tab, we were using it as a filter. Here, we'd be using it as a column of data. You can pull in account and contact information. If you have custom fields on the contact level, you can pull that information in. And then it goes into the financial data. So here we're looking at, is there a food and beverage minimum on the booking? What is the total rental fee? So in Tripleseat, you contract on a rental fee, but you still have to post it as a charge. And so those are 2 different fields of data. So here under financials, this is giving us the total contracted rental fee. But by the time the team actually posts it, maybe they negotiated it down. This is also a checks and balance to see, hey, did we actually post everything that was contracted? Actual is event revenue. So when you see actual within Tripleseat, that's talking about all revenue associated with events, not room blocks. We already grabbed the room block revenue off the other field. We can also pull in this guest room revenue, which should match the blocked revenue. And then grand total is just the event revenue with taxes and fees applied, if you need to see those separately. And then we can break it down by category. So whatever categories you have built out in settings under menu item categories, you'll be able to pull these into the report. So maybe, yes, you want to see the total actual, the subtotal of all the event revenue, but you also want to see it by category. Then you can pull those in as well. And then your taxes and fees if you need to report on those. So once you've added all the columns of data that you want to report on, now you can set up the order. So if I want the event subtotal to live at the bottom of all my category totals, I can drag that down. Maybe I don't need location. I can just get rid of that, et cetera, and so forth. And then once you've set up all the columns that you'd like to see, you're just going to run the report. So now it's updated what we see on the screen here. It's pulled in those additional columns of data. It's put it into the order that we preferred. And then just to give you an idea of how the grouping works, if I did it by location, it's now just going to sort them that way as well, which is helpful. It's going to give you totals as well to whatever period you're reporting on. When you build out a report here, you can export it to Excel, but you can also save it. So if you customize a report because it's how you want to see the data and it includes the data that you want to see, certainly save it. So when you hit save, you're just going to give it a name. So I'll just name it after today. And then you have a couple additional options. You can share this report with specific user roles or with specific users. So if this report is something that, let's see, I don't know, training power user role should have access to at all times, then we're going to share it with them and save it. And that way, when they log in, they will also see the saved report that they'll be able to click on and run. They won't be able to delete the report. As the builder of the report, you will be the only one that can actually delete it. So I'm going to hit save. And once you save a report, it lives in the saved reports to the right of the report type. So this was a booking details report. So you can see right here, we have our saved report. And then that way, the next time I want to run it, I just click on that link. I can update the dates that I want to report on, whatever it may be, and off we go. If you decide that this is not the report you want, you can always delete it. All right, so the same goes with the event details report. So again, those event details are going to pull in more granular information. So I'm just going to click on one of the reports that I've already saved. And you can see here that what I'm able to get are start and end times, a specific room that it's in. So if you want to really understand what's happening in ballroom A across the month of June because you're trying to plan out some, maintenance projects or something, the walls have to be repainted, the floor has to be redone. This is a quick way to kind of pull that information all together. All right, and then I just wanted to touch on one more report. Your accounts and contacts reports are really straightforward. Honestly, if you need to pull accounts and contacts, you can do a general export of all, or you can also customize it down and filter to specific regions. So if your sales team is looking to to do like a blitz on, all the contacts in a certain geographical space, then you could customize it down to just those individuals. But I just wanted to show the leads report real quick. So the lead details report lets you pull in a little bit more robust information, but the lead conversion report just gives you a quick snapshot on how successful are your different lead sources and how successful is the team at converting those lead sources into revenue. So, again, you could group it by lead source. You can even, so it's going to be filtered by the date submitted, but then you could group it by the specific sources so that you could see all together how successful those leads are. So it's going to give you the lead count per day over whatever period you're looking at, but it follows that lead along through the whole process so that you can see what's being converted into a booking and more importantly, a definite booking. All right, so that actually brings us right to a half hour, as promised. But those were all the reports I wanted to cover today. As I said, all these reports here work the same, so I would just start by trying to customize a report that you think might be helpful to you, and once you get the knack of that, you can build any of these reports the same way. So it's super helpful. So I'm just going to see what questions people have at this point. So if you do have any questions, please just go ahead and post it into the question box. All right, it doesn't look like we have any questions just yet, but I do also want to point out that you can find more information about reporting and really anything Tripleseat related from your help and question button at the top of your screen. So what I really want to show you is this help video link. So this will link you directly to our YouTube page for Tripleseat University. And we try to create a video for just about every feature that exists in Tripleseat, as well as new releases, and we sometimes record our webinars. So this is a really powerful resource when you're looking to brush up on something in particular. You can also search it. So if you, just search for a keyword in here, it's going to narrow it down for you. So you can see TARP is the advanced reporting platform. That's what we talked about in the beginning of the call. But we've got, here was a recent webinar, deeper dive into reporting. Here's our Tripleseat University reporting videos. So there are some options to dive deeper into any subject by coming here. So hopefully this was helpful for everyone attending today. If you do think of any questions after the webinar ends, please feel free to submit them either directly to me or to our support team. And we can always do a customized call for your account as well if you're looking to create some specific reports and just need some help guiding your way through it. But I just want to thank everybody for attending today and hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and rest of your week.